Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. In today's video we're going to be going through some changes for Octane and Revenant, a rework that I think both characters could really do with at the minute. Octane to hopefully put him in a better spot where he is more team viable and has more of a team output. And for Revenant, just to make him in his ultimate form a little bit more fun to fight against and actually more fun to play as, especially in social game modes as well, because he can be quite a tough character to fight against in ranked. So we're going to be going through that today. I've got some old Flashpoint gameplay on the screen because Flashpoint was such a super fun game mode, but I hope you're all enjoying Season 7. Got some great Season 7 gameplay coming up soon from some fantastic wins as Horizon. I am loving her new abilities. I think she's a great character. Now that Pathfinder's grapple is back, movement is back in Apex and it's so much fun. But we're going to be going over Octane and Revenant today, two complete overhauls. Octane, almost a complete redesign of every ability, but Revenant, only his ultimate needs to change, really. So we'll start off with Revenant because it's a bit more subtle. The one change I'd make to his tactical and passive is I think that his passive, he needs to be able to infinite climb. He just needs to, it would make him so much more viable and more like how he was shown to be in the trailers and how his Shadow Fall counterparts are. I think he needs to have that climb go for as long as you want, or at least a much longer than it currently is. And his tactical, I think, needs to stun people slightly. So not like an arc star level stun, not even quite to the level of a caustic gas. But if you look back at the gameplay trailer for Season 4, when he throws his tactical in it looks like it's kind of the characters he's fighting look like they get slightly stuck in his tactical. And I don't mean that it needs to be like the black hole level power of Horizon, but just something subtle would be really nice actually. And the buffs they've been doing to his tactical have been really awesome. But his ultimate needs a complete rework because he can be really annoying to fight against. And I think that the shadows that we faced in the latest version of Shadow Royale for Halloween were fantastic. Really fun to fight with on your team and really fun to fight against. And it kind of ties into the lore of Apex Legends as well, doesn't it? Because of the Shadow Revenant kind of taking over. They could bring some story elements in here that actually ties in with this buff, which would be awesome. Maybe the Shadow Revenant is coming into the real world and starting to, the current Apex timeline fits in and actually altering abilities and making changes that affect the real Apex games as we know them, which is would be really interesting. And I think that the only change they'd have to do is instead of having 60 health points, the Shadows would have 100 health points, and when you reset, you would reset with 50 HP. It would just mean that when you go into Shadow form, you can't use abilities because a Bloodhound in alt mode with a Revenant totem is really tough to deal with, especially if crypto EMPs are coming in. It can be a really tough fight to have, but knowing that if you're fighting a Shadow that they can only really do big damage up close would really change fights, and I actually think really improve his ultimate. They might maybe need to increase the damage that the the Shadow melee does, but I think it would put it into a much better spot actually, and make him fun to fight with and against, because the aggression you can get in that Shadow form with the double jumping, with the wall running, with the increased movement speed, and actually make it a really fun time to play Apex Legends, and a massive overhaul for the character. So let me know what you think of Revenant down below and what spot you think he is in. Next, we're moving over to Octane, who's going to have the biggest changes of all of the characters in this video. So, Octane, I think he needs... This is really tough because some people really love where Octane is at the minute. The buff they did to his stim, making the swift mend quicker on his passive, is actually really good. It means that Octane barely ever has to carry meds now. A couple of syringes, 4 syringes is fine. You don't really need med kits as much. It's a really good passive update, but I'm thinking of a complete overhaul by design. So if you love where Octane is at the minute, you might not be a fan of this buff, but let me know what you think. It's just an idea. So his passive would change completely. Getting rid of the swift mends, what his passive would become would be a 10% movement speed increase by default. So he automatically is 10% faster than all the other characters all the time, walking, running, maybe even jumping as well, potentially, faster in air movements. And that's 10% all the time no Swiftmen. That's completely gone as a passive. You could maybe keep it and have it revert back to what it was before, because it is quite powerful at the minute. But he needs this 10% passive buff to tie in with my other ideas. So the next buff that I would give him then for his tactical is his tactical will become the jump pad. So you know how Horizon at the minute, she has that tactical that allows her to push up in the air. It's a really, really strong tactical, and it feels in line with Pathfinder's grapple and Octane's jump pad. But Octane's jump pad is an ultimate ability, and I think that is what hinders the jump pad, because the jump pad's fun. You can't deny it. It's a really cool ability. The double jumping's fun. You can get air in a completely different way to a grapple, and I think all of the tactical based movement abilities, so the bracelet, the gravity lift, the grapple, and the jump pad, all have different purposes. They all work in different ways, but I think that the tactical should be a jump pad. And I think that Octane, one thing that would be a big change that would really improve it, with Horizon's tactical, one thing that makes it really strong is that when you throw down the tactical, you and your teammates have a few seconds to use it before it then goes away. Whereas with an Octane jump pad, if you throw it down and then you use it to get into an advantageous position, there's nothing stopping another squad coming along and using your jump pad against you. So if Octane could look at his jump pad and from any distance be able to take it away, remove it, because I know you can destroy jump pads and that's fine, but without wasting ammo, this would maybe be something for Pathfinder as well with the zipline ultimates. But I think that Octane, considering how powerful Horizon's tactical now is, Octane's jump pad needs the ability to be taken away, because otherwise you can just have it used against you all the time. And I think that a smart Octane will know when to put their pad out and when to take it away, and sometimes in a fight you're not going to have time to take it away, so people will still have the chance to use it against you. It'll just be less frequent. Now here's where the big change comes in, and it's with his ultimate. I think Octane, his ultimate, obviously, because his actual ultimate will now become his tactical, it puts it in a really, really different spot. So I think his ultimate will need to be completely redesigned around what his tactical ability currently is, which is the stimming. I think that should become his ultimate, and to make him more of a team-oriented player, his tactical can now get teammates from point A to point B quicker. His ultimate would be a stim that the whole team gets. And I get that there might be moments where you might not want stim, so maybe you have to opt in or opt out of it, but I think a stim, a 40% stim increase as an ultimate would be fantastic for Octane. Now, it would be a 40% increase on your teammate's speed, but because you're Octane and you've got a 10% increased movement speed by default, it would actually put you up to 50% increased movement, which is, I think, would be the fastest character in the game by far. Bloodhound has the ultimate increased speed. Bangalore's got the passive buff that's, I think, 30%. I need to check what Bloodhound is, but I think it's about 30% as well. So an Octane Stim ultimate would be 40% for the team. And if I'm wrong by these percentages, it's by 10%, so it'd be 10% down. It would be 30% for a Stim boost, and then 40% for Octane in his ultimate. Whatever numbers would just push him 10% up from everyone else. So Octane is the fastest character in his ultimate. And whether that does health damage or not, I don't know. I think instead of doing health damage, just make the sound of it really loud. Like, how we get the Stim sound anyway? Maybe for 20-30 seconds people get stim use, but the sound would be louder, almost rivaling that of a Bloodhound ultimate. So you hear the stim sound, you can hear these 3 Octanes flying at you. That would be crazy good. Unfortunately, this ability, as an ultimate would you would need the Revenant buff to happen simultaneously, because can you imagine a Revenant in current shadow form and then an Octane cracks his ultimate and all 3 players have this huge speed of movement? I think it would be such a fun ultimate, and it would both then his tactical and ultimate would have team utility. It would have to be put on a different cooldown. It would take quite a long time for Octane to get this ultimate compared to how long his current one charges up. It would probably take 2 minutes, I'd say, to get that ultimate, maybe 2.5 minutes. And it would really change the course of battle, having that option to escape if you're in trouble, especially if you're in the ring. Say you're stuck in the storm and you need to run back in and it's really doing heavy damage to your team. Popping that ultimate and having the chance to run back would actually be team saving. So I think this ability would really change how people play Octane. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on these buff and rework ideas for these two characters. It's been a pleasure to share this gameplay with you from Flashpoint. Such a fun mode. Really hope it comes back in some form. And I would love to know in the comments what you think. Please, let's get a conversation going about Octane and Revenant. And also what you think of Season 7. I am loving it. I think every character is actually in a super good spot at the minute. Maybe buffing Octane a bit would help. But everyone is actually quite fun to play at the moment. I think Apex's character balance is the best it's ever been in Season 7. So these reworks are just extra ideas, you know, just to put the cherry on top. But I think Respawn have done a fantastic job with them. So yeah, I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, everyone. Thank you for tuning along and spending your time with me today going through these rework changes. See you down in the comments and in the next video.